read aloud, so I'll let her introduce that again. And as you can see, Baxter is also back joining us. We'll see how long he stays. Again, this is one of his favorite read alouds that he really enjoys. So I will let my mom go ahead and introduce to you the read aloud that she's going to read today. And at the end, I will explain the activity that goes along with it. So be listening.
Hi kids! All right, today we're going to read Henry and Mudge. And this is my Mudge. Well, actually it's Mrs. Hushka's Mudge. So I want all you kids to go get your Mudge. Go get your puppy, your dog, a stuffed animal, and sit with them and listen to this story, because we are each gonna have our own Mudge. All right. Henry and Mudge, the first book. Henry had no brothers and no sisters. I want a brother, he told his parents. Sorry, they said. Henry had no friends on his street. I want to live on a different street, he told his parents. Sorry, they said. Henry had no pets at home. I want to have a dog, he told his parents. Sorry, they almost said. But first they looked at their house with no brothers and no sisters. Then they looked at their street with no children. Then they looked at Henry's face. Then they looked at each other. Okay, they said. I want to hug you, Henry told his parents, and he did. Mudge. Henry searched for a dog. Not just any dog, said Henry. Not a short dog, not a curly one, and no pointed ears, he said. Then he found Mudge. Mudge had floppy ears, not pointed, and Mudge had straight fur, not curly, not like Baxter here, but Mudge was short because he's a puppy, Henry said. He'll grow. And did he ever. He grew out of his puppy collars, he grew out of his puppy cage, and when he finally stopped growing, he weighed 180 pounds. He stood 3 feet tall and he drooled. I'm glad you're not short, Henry said. And Mudge licked him, and then he sat on him. It's like having your dad sit on you. That's how big 180 pounds is, I'm sure. Henry used to walk to school all by himself. When he walked, he used to worry about tornadoes and ghosts and biting dogs and bullies. He walked as fast as he could. He looked straight ahead. He never looked back. But now he walked to school with Mudge. He was way happy. And when he walked, he thought about vanilla ice cream, rain and rocks and good dreams. He walked to school, but not too fast. He walked to school, and sometimes he even walked backwards to school. He walked to school and he patted Mudge's big head because he was so happy. Mudge loved Henry's room. He loved the dirty socks. He loved the stuffed bear. He loved the fish tank, but mostly he loved Henry's bed. Because in Henry's bed was Henry. Mudge loved to climb in with Henry, then he loved to smell him. He smelled his lemon hair, he smelled his milky mouth, he smelled his soapy ears, and he smelled his chocolate fingers. Then he put his head by Henry's head. He looked at the fish tank, he looked at the bear, he looked at Henry, he licked him, and then he fell asleep. One day, Mudge took a walk without Henry. The sun was shining, the birds were flying, the grass smelled sweet. Mudge couldn't wait for Henry, so he left. He went down one road, sniffing the bushes. Then he went down another road, picking up the dust. He went through a field, across a stream, into some pine trees. And when he came out on the other side, he was lost. He couldn't smell Henry. He couldn't smell his front porch. He couldn't smell the street he lived on. Mudge looked all around, and he didn't see anything or anyone he knew. He whined a little bit, alone without Henry. Then he lay down, alone without Henry. He missed Henry's bed. Henry thought Mudge would be with him always. He thought Mudge made everything safe. He thought Mudge would never go away. And when Mudge did go away, when Henry called and he called, but Mudge didn't come, Henry's heart hurt and he cried for an hour. But when he finished crying, Henry said, "Mudge loves me. He wouldn't leave without me. He must be lost." So Henry walked and he walked and he called and he called and he looked for his dog. He walked down one road and down another road, and then the sun shone as Henry ran through a field, calling and calling out Mudge's name. The birds flew past as he stood beside a stream, calling and calling. And the tears began to fall down Henry's cheeks, and he looked at the empty pine trees for his lost dog. "Mudge," he called one last time, "Mudge." Mudge woke up from his lonely sleep, and he came running. And every day when Henry woke up, he saw Mudge's big head. And every day when Mudge woke up, he saw Henry's small little face. He ate breakfast at the same time. They ate supper at the same time. And when Henry was at school, Mudge just lay around and waited. Mudge never, ever went for a walk without Henry again. He was very scared, and Henry never worried that Mudge would leave. He knew he'd always be safe with him, because sometimes in their dreams, they saw long silent roads, big wide fields, big deep streams and pine trees. In those dreams, Mudge was alone and Henry was alone. So when Mudge woke up and knew Henry was with him, he remembered the dream and he stayed closer than ever. And when Henry woke up, he knew Mudge was with him. He remembered the dream and the looking and the calling and the fear, and he knew he would never lose Mudge again. And that's the end. And my Mudge is right here. Well, Mrs. Hushka's Mudge is right here.
Hopefully you liked today's read aloud from my mom with Henry and Mudge. I miss all of you. I will explain the activity in just a moment, but my mom has to get going here, so.
Bye, kids. I'll see you next time, and I hope you all enjoyed Henry and Mudge book, because I sure did. Talk to you later.
All right, I am here to explain the activity that goes along with Henry and the Mudge book here that my mom just read aloud to you. So my challenge for you is to see if you can go back and sequence the events that happened in the story. Remember, if you need to, you can always go back and listen to the read aloud again. That is a strategy to be able to use to sequence the events in the story. So remember, that means that you are ordering, you're placing the events in order in which the things happen, using the words first, next, then, and last. So along with that, you have a sheet that looks like this that was emailed to your parents, so hopefully they can print it off for you, or you could just write it on a piece of paper. So see if you can find the main idea, what happened first, next, then, and last. When you are done with that, I have a fun challenge, another challenge for you that has to do with a doggy mystery picture, and it is all about math. So it's asking you to color different numbers, different colors. So you will need a yellow crayon, a brown crayon, and a red crayon, or of course you could always use marker. This one will need to be printed off so that you can do that. You will not be able to do this one on the computer. All right, you guys, I miss you so much. I hope that you're all doing well and looking forward to our next read aloud. All right, see you later.